Right, welcome back. Last time, we went ahead and invested 10 ducats into the industry. Oh, and others keep investing into the industry too. So now it went from slightly less than 1 slot to 17 slots. Yeah, there's going to be some throughput problems for a while. And wages are going to be excessively high, aren't they? Although some measures haven't caught up yet. Though I'm sure at this time next year I should be able to open up that commercial slot I wanted. I did also pawn off a large portion of my state-owned industry to the clergy, because, well, yeah. That's going to cause my own income to crash and burn any sizable amount of urban industry, so I am not keeping that. So this should be the session where the burghers finally become something of a faction, even if only to a small degree. Anyway, wet grinding. Oh yeah, right, 2nd of December, lag spike. There we are. Land morale plus 0.06 enables wheeled roboticans. Yeah, that looks like how it's pronounced. I have no idea otherwise. I am not going to be researching forecastles though, because I want to save those points up for plutocracy ideas. If it weren't for the points difference, I'd probably take civic religion, because I could use those benefits far more, since I don't even have trade power at the moment. But, well, they're admin points. I need them for getting the next idea group, among other things. And diplo points just aren't valuable to me at all, because, well, again, I don't have any trade power, and my navy is 1 transport. When I'm half considering disbanding it just because. I've also entirely turned off my manpower taxation, so I'm no longer funneling money into arming a force I can't even afford in the first place. So, yeah. Now it's just the advisors. Oh well. It does seem that the land tax has increased dramatically, the amount of investment. So hopefully that means that my own income is increasing. At the very least, I don't seem to be losing that much money. But I'm not sure how much that has to do with other stuff. Like the fact that I don't have an army anymore. Actually, I could check the breakdown. Probably should do some other stuff too, as there's probably things I've forgotten. Yeah, like reactivating the grain dole, that would be smart. Expenses are low. Property expenses are anyway. Which seems to be fine. Oh, and... okay, yes, the aristocrats definitely no longer have enough power to stop me if I try that, so... Right. Promote prominent landlords to gentry. To natural order. The ranks of the gentry are decentralized and diverse, affording those in power with the blessing and curse of dealing with a great number of influential gentry. This does mean that they're going to be a lot less influential then. However, that's going to greatly increase provincial corruption on the short term. And I'm going to have to do this if I want to prove things. On the other hand, peasant freedom is exactly 0, so I can just overlook tenant abuse and it won't do anything. Outside of burn a few points and all that. Okay, I don't need to expand the state, but I do need to provide grain for the commoners. That won't be enough to do much of anything, really. At least it's gonna keep my stability up. These reforms are going to be pricey in stability for sure, so ensuring everything functions well is going to be a long-term thing. And another advisor died. So by now, okay, yep. Poll taxes. There we go, another idea group. Plutocracy. It appears no one's picked that idea group yet, so that's great, and I'll be getting some innovation out of it. Even if it's unlikely I'll be able to use it to any particular degree. So, urban centers and mercantile focus. I can't quite yet afford resilient trade, but it does look like I'll be able to get to it at some point soon, so yeah, maybe a couple months. Urban centers. Cities are efficient. Profit rewards efficiency. Wealth requires profit. Thus, the first step towards a wealthy society is urbanization. Amenities infrastructure cost minus 10%. Oh, that's going to be useful. Global trade plus 2.5%. Especially since it's going to need to build all the amenities from scratch. Mercantile focus. Where political power lies, so lies the focus of the law. An administration run by individuals who make their fortunes in commerce can only mean good things for commerce. Or at least the enterprises of those in the administration. Base consultation plus 1. Metropolitan influence plus 0.1. Resilient trade. When everything rides on trade, everything will be used to buoy it too. Even under the harshest conditions, there's always a return that justifies the risk. And the best time to enter a market is when no one else can. Embargo efficiency plus 10%, commerce production and efficiency minus 10%. And after that I'm going to have to generate all the points from scratch, aren't I? Oh well. I'm playing against Dithmarschen. I'm doing just about everything from scratch anyway. Mercenary relations. Merchants and mercenaries are two sides of the same coin. The same side, arguably. Either way, both. Apparently, whoever wrote that managed to cut off the localization or something. Either way, both do things for money or something. So it's nice to see that the innovativeness is going up rapidly. Is in fact starting to have an effect. Wait, wasn't this previously 1449? Oh, it's because of heightened corruption that reduced. Anyway, mercenary manpower plus 25%. That's not really helpful for me because forced limit considerations, and I dislike using mercenaries. Especially since I will not be able to afford them at all. But anyway. Oppose populist reform! It's easy keeping the clergy happy, especially when that has zero consequences. Anyway. So I've gone ahead and reduced the base influence by going down to natural order and gentry hierarchy. Which states, the ranks of the gentry are decentralized and diverse, affording those in power with the blessing and curse of dealing with a great number of influential gentry. Both a blessing and a curse. A blessing because each individual one is unlikely to have that much influence, and a curse because you have to deal with a whole bunch of them. And well, yeah. Stability is somewhat troublesome to keep together. Had an election, 414, vengeful. which is just lovely. At least the executive authority bumps it up, bumps the 1 up to 3, which is good. It's good. Though, it would be nice for more. There's probably... Okay, so what ways are there to increase institutional authority? I believe administrative ideas has one. Bureaucracy? Bureaucracy. Institutional governance. And then I think there was one with representation ideas. Could probably get at some point. Yeah, I'm going to need innovative and humanist. I think. So I could bump it up all the way to 80 if I want to. 80 institutional authority? That would be nice. Apparently there's supposed to be a centralization effect too, but I don't think it has any impact on the game yet. There might have been a recent addition to the localization, just never actually had that bit implemented. Or maybe it has, and I'm just at a low enough centralization that doesn't actually have an impact. That could also be entirely true. Yeah, anyway. I'm doing my best to try to keep the aristocrats happy. Because I'm going to be reforming a lot. However, some nice things are, well, the biggest nice thing, I guess, is that peasant freedom is now at its minimum value of 0. Because, for some reason, we have serfdom. As Dithmarschen, serfdom. Which makes very little sense. At least it keeps welfare high for some reason. +2 base welfare. Tenancy. And then every point after that will give me more and more welfare. But though for some reason serfdom is better for base welfare than free peasantry. Okay then. So I just need to get aristocratic influence to below 40 reliably. And I can reform my way up. So I can get to free peasantry, which will boost rural production. It's probably the best way to do that. The other option is going to freeholding, but I'm going to need to get gentry to 35 power. Oh, and I also need formal structure and provincial administration, sovereign courts and justice and sovereign courts. I need a bureaucratic advisor. And I need 30 bureaucratic influence. Oh, and I need to deal with autonomous holdings at some point. Though at the very least this will reduce autonomy. Which also has a compounding effect on power, so that's probably a good idea. Because the elites in general get power from autonomy. But they also generate autonomy directly, too. So the more autonomy there is in a province, the more power they have in that province, and the more autonomy they provide. Although it's almost certainly a feedback loop that is not it's not self-sustaining. I don't think they can get enough power to sustain the same, well, I don't think a change of autonomy, say, increase of 10% autonomy, gives them enough power to increase by 10% again. Maybe by 5%, which will give them enough power to do 2.5%, then 1.25%, so on and so forth, until they go the full 10%. If it's telescoping some, anyone with enough mathematics education probably knows what I'm talking about. It's a summation that eventually has an actual limit because you can only go so far. Also, the Teutonic Order is being utterly destroyed by Poland. Yay. Oh, and Rome's almost dead. The Ottomans are doing their thing. Oh, and the 100 Years' War is definitely not going England's way. How terrible. But yeah. I'm picked up plutocracy ideas. I already have the first 4. Planning on getting the rest. Though most of these ideas aren't that helpful except for simplicity of money. Because of the yearly Republican... tradition. And the slight unrest reduction is nice. I also managed to finally get a commercial district, though there's some oddity in that it apparently doesn't actually have ownership. So I'm hoping investing into it will, after increasing its size, actually provide who owns what. And maybe make it so that the burghers the burghers have enough of a presence to actually form a faction. I currently don't have any burghers according to this, despite the fact that it's been a couple years since I managed to create the commercial industry. So. And I can check who has what. And apparently no one owns that commercial industry. It's strange. But the basic industry itself is working fine, so I can only presume that by now, because the fact that it has changed sizes, means that it should, theoretically, work after this. Now, whether or not we'll actually do that, again, we'll have to see next time. So, yeah. I'm just happy I'm safe for the time being. But I still need to do a lot of economic changes. Also, we're almost, well, the resident population is growing rapidly. Peasants, also rapidly, though not, okay. Percentage-wise, not quite as quickly. In absolute values, yes, more quickly. Though that's mostly from their own natural birth rate, from having most of their needs fulfilled, all their needs fulfilled to over 100%. The only thing they haven't fulfilled more is their luxury goods. They haven't quite hit 200% with that, but they've almost hit 150%. The only people that are living life better are the nobles. Not even the clergy is living that good. So yeah, the peasants are doing great, in every way, except for their freedom. But hey, they're happy, I guess. State reach is increasing. It started to slow down a bit, because I guess the effect from provincial administration only applies above a certain level of state reach. It seems to be around 11%, because that's when it seems to have started affecting me. Can't wait till I can reform that. It's going to take me at least 25 state reach. It's going to be a long, long while. Might be easier to do other things first. I'm at the point where I could start regulating tax farming, but I'm not reliant on tax income. The amount of money I earn from tax income is actually less than the amount I get from the familial estates that are the basic amount. Even if I got rid of everything, all the corruption, all the tax farming negatives, the total amount I would be earning, even if you ignore that negative on property, yeah, that is 3.6 ducats per year. Otherwise known as 0.3 ducats a month. And the familial estates give plus 0.5. So I'm not relying on tax income at all. Beyond giving me more money to work with, which I've been slowly whittling away as I've been investing into the province's economy, even if slowly. Although I will say this, it's a blunt tool, and the 10 ducats. And it doesn't help that much. The only thing doing well is the commerce industry. Oh well. Right, as for production of goods, I produce exactly enough military goods to fulfill my needs. Industrial, way more. As well, industrial knowledge and food, way more than my needs. Everything else doesn't seem to be enough. I'm either not producing any of it, or very little of it. Well, not producing any of it. In the case of stuff like exotics, does that make sense? Or consumer goods, or raw materials or fuel, or not enough, such as fiber, salt, luxury goods. But yeah, that's something to look into later. I don't even need the commercial sector, because every province has a base amount of trade potential, even without commercial sectors applying that. I'm just doing this to get the burghers along. Plus, they'll make money off the trade anyway. Anyway, I've definitely been here long enough. I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.